Hello and welcome back to the another episode of Daily News Quiz Analysis for IAS Prelims 2025. It is 8th Feb today, and in this video we are going to solve some important questions which are very much relevant for your preparation. As usual, before we'll start our discussion, I would like to give the brief introduction about this initiative so that if you are new to our channel, you will get more connected with us. Basically in this video, we are going to discuss three types of questions which are taken from three different sources. So depending upon the sources, the first set of questions which we are going to solve here are taken from the current affairs. What we will do? We'll try to take up the most important articles from the newspapers. We'll try to break them down into the simplest language possible, and we will try to derive the possible prelims questions from those particular articles so that it will give you the idea how you can expect a question from these articles in your exam, what part of the newspaper is important for you, and what should be your approach. So this is what we are going to do in the first part of our discussion. After solving questions with respect to current affairs, we will shift our approach to the another part of our discussion where we will solve questions from the static part. Currently we are discussing Indian polity, and in Indian polity we are discussing the office of the president, and in office of the president we are discussing the various powers of the president. And today we are going to discuss some legislative powers of the president. We'll discuss those topics and try to derive the possible prelims question from those particular topics so that it will give you the idea how the questions can be asked even from these topics. After solving questions with respect to current affairs and the static part, we will shift our approach to the last part of our discussion, or we will try to solve some previous year questions. To me, this is the most important part of our discussion because in here we will try to learn different types of different ways in which UPSC asks the questions. We will try to understand the vocabulary, what the UPSC uses for framing your papers, and also we will try to understand different trends which the UPSC follows. And at the same time, we will try to understand how we can solve the questions if we don't have the proper knowledge. What are the different techniques? What are different elimination methods? We will try to learn those, and also we will try to understand how we can implement this knowledge in the upcoming exam. So this is in a nutshell what we are going to do in this video. Now before we start our discussion, I would like to request you guys, please do subscribe the channel, share it with your friends so that they may also get benefited from this initiative, and do write in the comments what do you guys feel about the video. And also for you, I would like to request you guys, please do note down these questions because it is going to play a huge part in your preparation. Now with this, let's have a look at the first question here. As I had brought on the screen, you can directly see the question is about the repo rate. Why we had brought this question? Because yesterday we discussed about the MPC. They were going to meet Monetary Policy Committee of the RBI, and it was very much expected that this time they are going to they are going to decrease the repo rate. So this is very interesting topic. From last 57 months they had not changed the repo rate. If you can see here, even on the screen here, we can see from last 57 months, approximately from 2022 itself, they had not changed this repo rate. And what was the reason for that not changing the repo rate? Usually when MPC, the major work of the MPC is to balance growth and inflation. So this is the major work of the MPC, to balance growth and inflation. In our country, we are right now we are suffering from inflation. The target which was given to the MPC was to to have the inflation rate between 2 to 6%, and we are very much near 6%. In fact, we had crossed the 6% for the inflation. So it is the prime time for, even during COVID-19 we had seen huge inflation trends, and after COVID-19 we had tried to curb that, but still the inflation is there. This is the work of the MPC, that they have to balance inflation and the growth. So if they will choose one of these, this is very tricky for them. If they will go for the growth, then they have to they have to give the they have to give back. There would be inflation, and if they will try to curb the inflation, then it will have its impact on the growth. So there is this connection between the two, the inflation and the growth. So here what the this year in this meeting, what MPC has decided, that they will down the inflation by 2.5 base points. So the inflation has been come down to, sorry, the repo rate, it has come down to 6.25. They had decreased it to 2.5 base points. So what is the here now you can ask me, sir, what is this repo rate, how it is important, how does it show, what does it show, what does it mean in the economy? This repo rate, it basically shows that how much percentage of interest would a bank has to pay to the RBI for borrowing the money. So if this interest rate has come down, as we are seeing that it has been reduced to 2.5%, 0.25 base points. So what does it mean? It means that there would be more money available to the banks on the lower interest rates. When the interest rates are lower, when the repo rate is lower, they can borrow more money from the RBI. When banks have the more money, what they can do, they can give it to the loan to the people. They can give this money to the market, and people will have more money in their hands. As we are discussing this, as we had discussed in our earlier discussions also, that why the growth has stagnated in India. One of the reason for that is that people don't have money in their hand. They don't have money to spend. The consumption demand has gone low. So to push this consumption demand, this repo rate has been decreased, so that there will be more money available to banks for lending. They will release that money in the market. People will have more money in the hand, and they will spend it, and this will indirectly increase the consumption. But at the same time, there are chances that if this money will not be, if there is supply shortages, it could lead to, if the money is now, money would be more available in the hands of the people. But if there would be supply shortages, then it could lead to the inflation. So these are the drop this could be one of the drawback of this, and this is the whole story why we had brought this question here. I hope you had understood it, why we had discussed it. The RBI, the MPC, the RBI they had decreased the repo rate by 0.25 base points, so that now more money would be available to the banks, and more money would be in the market, so that it could drive the consumption demand. But there are chances, if the supply is low, it could lead to the inflation. So with this, let's see what question we have brought today and try to understand that. Here the question says, with reference to the repo rate, consider the following statements. First statement, it is the interest rate at which commercial banks borrow money from the Reserve Bank of India. 100% correct. They borrow money at this rate, they borrow this money from the Reserve Bank of India. Second, an increase in the repo rate typically leads to a decrease in the money supply in the market, in the economy. 100% correct. Once there is increase in the repo rate, then banks will tend to get, banks will not borrow that much money from the RBI, because they would have to give more interest to them. So it will definitely lead to decrease in the money supply in the economy. And this is what, for curbing the inflation, this is the tool which the RBI uses. Third statement, the repo rate is a tool used by the RBI to control inflation and stimulate economic growth. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, all the three statements are correct, and from the code given below, the correct code would be option D. With this, I hope you had understood the question as well as the reason why we had discussed this question here. Now with this, let's move to the another question and see what else we had brought on the slide. Next slide. Here, the question is with respect to the annual status of education report. Again, we are bringing this question, about this report. It is second question we are discussing here from last 1 week. Why we had brought this question, as we had discussed, what is the work of the assessor as they assess the educational learning outcomes of the children from the age group of 3 to 16. So in this report, the assessor, it has this report, it has highlighted the importance of technology, the importance of smartphones, how it has impacted the learning outcome of the children. And especially it has shown that it has given us different data in 2028, what was the amount of smartphones used by in 2018, what was the amount of smartphones used by people, especially the mothers. It highlighted that once the mothers had adopted to smartphones, it has directly impacted the learning capabilities of the children, because children are more free to ask phones from their mothers. And in 2018, it has highlighted what was the percentage use of the smartphones by different sections. For example, it was only 36% smartphones were used in 2018, and in 2022 this 36% reached to 74%, and in 2024 it has reached to 84%. And also this Asser report, it has highlighted how this education system, how learning outcomes stagnated during earlier, after after liberalization, how after after you can say after liberalization, after all that stuff, how outcome of education was going very up. The people were learning, the children were going to schools, but after some time it very much stagnated, and we had seen the stagnation of this learning outcome of the children during COVID-19. But it has also highlighted in during COVID-19, the usage of smartphone increased, and it has shifted the trend of the learning outcome. After that, now it is coming somehow stable. And also it highlighted that this right now, it is the time when the technology is taking over. It is a time when people tend to learn everything from the internet. The usage of AI, everything is used through the internet, everything is used through these smartphones. So it has highlighted it could generally generate the gap if these smartphones are not if these smartphones are not available to the people equitably. For example, if there are poor people who are not able to afford the smartphones, so their children, they could get harmed, they could remain behind as compared to the other children who are able to have access to these smartphones. So this is, in fact, this why we brought this question here, because it gave us the status how the smartphones, it is impacting the current upskilling of the children, and as well as the children, as well as their parents. So this is why we brought this question. Now let us understand more about this report through this question. Here the question says, the annual status of education report is a crucial source of data on education outcomes in India. Which of the following statements regarding the Asser report are correct? First statement, Asser is released by the Ministry of Education, Government of India. Totally incorrect. It is released by Pratham NGO, not Ministry of Education. So the first statement is totally incorrect. Second statement, it primarily focuses on assessing the learning outcomes of children in the age group of 3 to 16 years in rural areas. 100% correct. Third statement, the Asser survey is educated by volunteers from various civil society organizations. 100% correct. Fourth statement, it provides district level estimates of foundational literacy and numerical skills. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, what are the correct options? Option 2, option 3, and option 4 are the correct options. And from the code given below, the correct code would be option B. So with this, I hope you had understood the question, as well as why we brought this question. It showed the impact of the technology which people had adopted, how it has resulted in the learning outcome of the children. So with this, let's move to the another question, another slide, and see what question we had brought on that slide. The question here which we had brought about is olive ridley turtles. Why we had brought this question here, because there was news about the you know a surge of dead sea turtles in the sand, approximately in the areas where they lay eggs. Mostly the dead turtles were approximately in numbers, usually they would have been in numbers 200 to 300, but this year it has been found that their numbers had increased to 1200 or above. So what are the different reasons why these turtles are dying there? That's what the author, that is what the article highlighted. These reasons, the reasons which the author highlighted were the food chain, impact in the food chain. It was one of the reasons why these turtles are dying. Second reason was given, is the second reason of fishing gear and bottom trawling. Fishing gear and bottom trawling, it was one of the reasons given for the impact of the death of these turtles. Third, plastic pollution, one of the reason. When these new young ones are born, when they are hatched from the eggs, they don't understand what is food for them. They would try to eat the plastic, and because of that they choke and die. Then another reason, climate change, which is always discussed. This is also one of the reasons why these turtles are found dead on the desert, on these beaches. And one major reason for that is, one of the major reasons for the death of these turtles is light pollution. The artificial lighting which are done on the beach, it what it does, it confuses the newborn turtles. They often, it is the nature in their DNA, when they are hatched, they would tend to move towards the sun, direction of the sun, when they will see the sun, and they would actually dive into the sea. But unfortunately, when there are these artificial lights, what they do, they confuse these artificial lights with the sun, and they will move in the opposite direction, and they die because of the dehydration. So these are the reasons which were highlighted by the author because of their death. So here, through this question, we will understand more about the olive ridley turtle. Such questions become important for us. What is their status under IUCN lists and all those stuff related to it. So let's understand it. The question says, with reference to olive ridley turtles, consider the following statements. First statement: they are listed as a vulnerable on the IUCN red list of threatened species. 100% correct. They are listed as vulnerable. Second, they are known for their unique synchronized nesting behavior called aribada. 100% correct. Please remember this word. A question about it can be asked in the exam. Third statement: their primary nesting sites in India are located along the coasts of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. This is incorrect because their primary nesting sites are along the coasts of Odisha and Andhra Pradesh, not Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Usually it would be on the eastern coastline, but not on the, not in these regions. We can trace few regions in Tamil Nadu, but not in Kerala. So this statement is incorrect. Fourth statement: they are protected under the Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act 1972 in India. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, the correct statements would be statement 1, statement 2, and statement 4. And from the code given below, the correct code would be option A. With this, I hope you had understood some behavior of the olive ridley turtle, their synchronized nesting behavior. You had understood about it. What is their status under the IUCN list, and what is their status under the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, and the reason why they are dying right now. So with this, let's move to the another slide and see what question we had brought on the another slide. Here the question is with respect to Madumalai Tiger Reserve, because there was a picture of a deer on the Hindu newspaper. So it becomes important for us to understand, to have an understanding about the Madumalai Tiger Reserve. So that understanding would come through this question. Let's try to understand it. Let's try to solve it. The question says, with reference to Madumalai Tiger Reserve, consider the following statements. First statement: it is located in the Nilgiri Hills and forms part of the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. 100% correct. It is located at the tri-junction of the Karnataka, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu. It is located at tri-junction of Karnataka, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu. So it is indeed located at the Nilgiri Hills and forms part of the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. Second statement: the Moya River, a major tributary of the Kaveri River, flows through the MTR. 100% correct. It flows through Madumalai Tiger Reserve. Third statement: Madumalai Tiger Reserve is known for its diverse flora and fauna, including significant population of elephant, tigers, and various species of deer. 100% correct. This statement is also correct. Fourth statement: the presence of the critically endangered Indian vulture has been documented within the Madumalai Tiger Reserve. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, all the four statements are correct, and the correct option would be option D. So here we learned where it is located, at the tri-junction of Kerala, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu. It is located in the Nilgiri Hills, which is the part of the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. And we understood here what is the major river which is flowing through it. It is Mayo River, a tributary of River Kaveri, which flows through the Madumalai Tiger Reserve. So with this, I hope you had understood it, and let's move to the another question which was in the news today. Here the question, the topic which was in the news is about the tropex. So let's understand, this is very new type of naval exercise. It might be very much new to many of you guys. So let's try to understand what it is. It says that with reference to India's Navy's theater level operational readiness exercise, Indian Navy's theater level operational readiness exercise, consider the following statements. First statement: tropex is conducted annually and focuses on validating the Indian Navy's operational capabilities in a complex maritime environment. 100% correct. Nothing wrong with the statement. Second statement: the exercise typically involves participation from all operational commands of the Indian Navy, along with the elements from the Indian Army and the Indian Air Force. 100% correct. Third statement: tropex primarily emphasizes anti-piracy operations and maritime border security. This is the broader exercise. Even though border security is a part of it, but it is not the major. Emphasis is not given on the anti-piracy and the maritime border security. So this statement becomes incorrect. Fourth statement, the exercise often includes joint exercise with the navies of friendly foreign countries. Totally incorrect. Even though India is very much keen in these joint exercise with the navies of friendly countries, but under this it is not so. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 2 only. And from the code given below, the correct code would be option A. With this, let's move to the last question from the current affairs and see what we had brought there. Here the question is about the Rio de la Plata, which is an estuary. Let us see what question we have brought here. The Rio de la Plata, a significant estuary in South America, is formed by the confluence of which of the following rivers? It is Parana and Uruguay. 100% correct. So with this, we complete today's discussion with respect to current affairs. I hope you had understood every topic which we had discussed here. Now let's move to the another part of our discussion where we will solve a static topic based question. Here, as you know, currently we are discussing the office of the president, and under office of the president, we are discussing the powers of the president. Under powers of the president, we had discussed what are his administrative powers. We had discussed what are his military powers, diplomatic powers, mercy powers, and all that stuff related to it. Now, currently we are discussing the legislative powers of the president. One of the legislative powers of the president is that he can disqualify a member of the parliament. One of the legislative powers of the president is disqualification of the member of the parliament, but this disqualification should be in line with the constitutional principles. So he cannot randomly disqualify anybody, then that person would definitely go to the court. So these disqualifications would be in line with the constitutional principles, and also he has to take the advice of the election commission in those matters. So here let's try to understand what kinds of disqualifications can be done by the president. For example, if a person holds the office of the president, if the person holds the office of the prophet, then he can be disqualified by the president. This is one of the way. Second, if the person is unsound mind, if he is unsound mind and stands so declared by a competent court, then he can disqualify that person. If he is a undischarged insolvent, he can disqualify him. If he is not a citizen of India, he can disqualify him. And if he is so disqualified by under any law made by the parliament, he can disqualify him. So these are the ways in which he can disqualify the person. You would have heard about the 10th schedule in which anti-defection law has been brought in. So those 10th schedule disqualifications are very much separate and they have nothing to do with the president. So with this, I hope you had got the basic understanding about the disqualification done by the president. So with this, let's try to solve this question and get more idea about it in a systematic way. Here the question says, with reference to the disqualification of a member of parliament in India, consider the following statement. First statement, the president of India has the power to disqualify a sitting MP. 100% correct. Second, the president's decision on disqualification is final and cannot be challenged in any court. Totally incorrect. There can be a review under this. So this statement is incorrect. Third statement, the president's act on the advice of the election commission. The president acts on the advice of the election commission in matters of disqualification of MPs. 100% correct. Fourth statement, a member disqualified under the 10th schedule can be disqualified by the president. Incorrect. So with respect to this question, what are the correct statements? Statement 1 and statement 3 only. And from the code given below, the correct code would be option C. We can say option C is the correct code. And here we learned what are the different ways by which a president can disqualify a member of the parliament. So with this, let's move to the last part of our discussion where we will solve a previous year question and see what previous year question we had brought. Currently we are discussing the questions from the physical geography. If you know, we are discussing the questions from the physical geography. We had already discussed every question with respect to ancient history, with respect to medieval, with respect to modern, with respect to India's freedom struggle. Every question which was asked before 2024, we had discussed that question already. Now we had started to discuss the questions from the physical geography, and we are about to complete it. Basically, this question was asked in 2011. So let's see what was asked then. Here the question says, with reference to asteroids and comets, which of the following statements are correct? First statement, asteroids are small rocky celestial bodies while comets are formed of a frozen gases and dust. 100% correct, nothing wrong with this statement. Second statement, asteroids are found mostly between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. We know that, correct. While comets are mostly found between Venus and Mercury. Totally incorrect. They are found beyond Neptune. beyond Neptune. So this statement is incorrect. Between asteroids are indeed found between the Mars and Jupiter, but comets are found beyond Neptune. Third statement, comets have a visible tail while asteroids do not. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 3 only. So with this, once we found this statement 2 is incorrect, we can mark statement 1 incorrect because 2 option is there. Statement 3 incorrect, statement 4 incorrect. So we are left with option B. We don't need to have the proper knowledge of such questions when we know when options are given in this way. So with this, we complete today's discussion. I hope you would have understood every concept in here. Now here I would like to add one more thing about our discussion. As I in the starting told you, our questions are taken from 3 different sources, as they are current affairs, static part, and previous year questions. Now if you are preparing for your UPSC prelims, these 3 sources are very much important for you. The UPSC faculty who is going to frame your the UPSC examiner who is going to frame your paper, he is going to use these sources. So what I want to tell you guys here, that please do note down these questions which we are discussing here. If you have these questions with you, when your exams would be near, maybe you are preparing for 2025. I'm talking about the month of May. 25th is estimated date for your exam. So for in these 25 days, you would want to revise everything. But trust me, time does not permit you. The anxiety level is different. You feel underconfident if you are not able to revise. So what will you do? What you should do, if you have these questions with you, you would just revise these questions. It would be very easy for you if you are noting down these questions. These questions would connect you with the current affairs, it will connect you with the static part, it will connect you with the previous year question, and it will boost your confidence before entering the exam hall. You will be much confident than others who are entering in the exam hall. And also, who knows, these are the questions which, as we discussed the sources, there could be the chances that many questions can coincide in the exam. If not the questions, many statements can coincide. If not the statements either, at least these would be the concepts which they are going to ask. So with this, I would like to ask you guys, I would like to request you guys, please note down these questions. And also I would wish best of luck to you guys. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much and have a nice day.